Long ago, the world was dark, just like night. There was no shape to the world. It was just a big mass of darkness. There was no dry land, only deep, deep water all around. God, who can do anything, had a plan. He thought, I will make a world that will be just right for people to live in. Of course, there weren't any people yet, but God was planning. He didn't just decide to make a world because he needed to make it. He chose to make it. God is love, and he wanted to make something for someone else to let them know he loved them. The first thing God thought was, I must do something with this darkness. And because of God's power, all he had to say was, let there be light. And there was bright light everywhere. God called the light daytime and the darkness nighttime. He knew there had to be daytime so children could go outside to play. And they needed nighttime so they could rest and not be tired. It is good, said God. He was pleased. God made all this happen on the first day of creation week. The second day, God separated the water. He made a sky above and the water below. God looked at all the deep, deep water. He couldn't see one bit of dry land. God knew when he made people, they would want to plant trees and flowers. Once again, God had only to say, let water be gathered together so dry land will appear. And it happened. Water came together, and big oceans and seas, middle-sized lakes and rivers and little streams and puddles. Now there was land, enough land for cities and towns where people could live. And there was enough ground to make big mountains and little hills. God called the land earth and the water seas. It is good, God said. He was pleased, and this all happened the third day. The next thing God did was to make trees and plants. He made bright colored flowers and big green trees to give fruit, and some tall leafy trees to make shady places on the ground. The fruits had seeds inside so that when planted, they made the same fruit of tree to bear the same kind of fruit. Some seeds grew into apple trees with big, juicy apples, and some seeds grew into cherry trees with ripe, red cherries. Some seeds grew into vegetables like carrots and pumpkins, and some seeds grew into pretty flowers like daisies and pansies. But something was still missing in the sky. I know what I'll do, said God. He put a big round sun in the sky to shine in the daytime, and a silvery moon and twinkling stars to shine at night. God looked at what he had done. It is good, God said. He was pleased. This all happened the fourth day. God had made a sky with fluffy white clouds and a warm, bright sun. But there were no birds to fly in the sky. And down on the ground, there were oceans and lakes and rivers, but there were no fish to swim in the water. So God created sea creatures, big and small, and every sort of splashing fish. And he made all kinds of birds to fly in the sky. Bluebirds and cardinals, robins, hummingbirds, and many more different kinds of birds. That ended the fifth day. God was pleased with all things he had created. And he did this so people could live on his beautiful earth. Everything is very good, God said. We will never know why we live here, how God created the world, but the Bible tells us he did create it. Someday in heaven, we can ask him all about that special creation week.